let's take a look at the elitism. So you start, here's one of the paragraphs. It says, Lawrence led me through a sunken den we're going to go to. This is what it says. Lawrence led me through a sunken den to a large outdoor dining area that was screened in Southern style. As she uncorked a bottle of white wine, she warned me that she was in a mood. Not a bad mood exactly, but a consistently emotional one, brought on by the Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade a few days earlier. You already are like, Jed, I'm not going to have the stomach for it. Listen, take a little Pepto. Don't take Pepto, actually. Take a little, what is it, seltzer water? You know, I don't like that big pharma stuff. And just chill for a second. You need to hear it. It goes on, and she talks about how she had great disappointment in the 2016 election. This was one of my favorite lines. The 2016 election had torn open a rift in her family. So it gets into how she doesn't see eye to eye with her parents. She comes from a conservative family in Kentucky. Repairing it was an ongoing process, particularly since having a baby she had been trying to heal. She even discussed with her therapist the recurring nightmares she has about Tucker Carlson. I mean, could you just, girlfriend, I tweeted, girlfriend, get a backbone. Honestly, Rachel Maddow does not keep me up at night at all. If Tucker Carlson's keeping you up at night, you got no problems. That's how you know you've got no problems, because you know what? The rest of the country is up at night thinking about how to pay gas bills, how to fill up their car. How am I going to put food on the table and do this? How am I going to work and afford childcare? She's up thinking about Tucker. Come on. Again, tone deaf. So she goes on, and she says, I just worked so hard in the last 5 years to forgive my dad and my family and to try to understand it's different. The information they're getting is different. Their life is different. She cannot wrap her head around how her family sees the world differently. And that's another sign of an elitist, by the way, because they cannot imagine that you have a different viewpoint. It's like, how can this be? Because she's in a bubble. She's in a Hollywood bubble. She's in a she's in a Southern California bubble that's inside of a Hollywood bubble. So she's just all bubbled up, you know? Okay. Then she gets into Roe v. Wade, and she talks about Trump. You knew it was coming. She says she had not, now this is the author of the article, she had not been entirely in Hillary Clinton's corner, which is interesting they put that in because even the elitists can't stand Hillary Clinton. That was a little dig. That was a little dig. You know it. Even the left-wing elitists can't stand Hillary. It's amazing. Woman inspires, just nobody likes her. Anyway, but still found it incredibly upsetting that the country elected Donald Trump. This is a quote. It breaks my heart because America had the choice between a woman and a dangerous jar of mayonnaise. And they were like, well, we can't have a woman. Let's go with the jar of mayonnaise. So I read this to you, this part, because there are still people out there who believe that Hillary Clinton didn't win the election because she was a woman. They will not acknowledge that, well, maybe Hillary Clinton didn't win the election because she was a terrible candidate, because she skipped a whole bunch of states because she's an elitist, because she was a liar. She had lied. She had the whole email scandal and everybody knew she lied, and she signed papers that she lied in. She should be in jail, by the way, for that stuff. You know it. And she was a fraud. And maybe they were tired of the Clinton dynasty and they didn't want that anymore. No. It's because everyone's a misogynist. The talking points leave certain cable news outlets or the New York Times, and they just like, you know, I'm going to do the gulp. You know it. Okay. She realized she was a liberal. She grew up in a Republican family. Do you know how she realized she was a liberal? This is not a joke. One night when she was 16, she was watching 30 Rock. Don't we all discover our political ideology and identity by watching television shows?
Everything I know about politics, I owe to Tina Fey.
There you go.
Absolutely.
For me, it was South Park.
As a 16-year-old.
Right. And Liz Lemon said something.
South Park.
You know. And Liz Lemon said something along the lines of, I'm not a crazy liberal. I just think people should drive hybrid cars. It made sense. It seemed rational, the author says. I mean, as if liberalism could be summed up by the desire, not, statism, not big government control of your life, not high taxes. No, none of that. Just hybrid cars. Yeah, cool. Okay. Then it goes on. To her, Republican had always meant, why should my taxes pay for your haughty lifestyle? Now she saw holes in this logic. Nobody likes to see their paycheck go away, but it made sense to me. Yeah, for the greater good. I guess it makes sense. The greater good. You hear that all the time, right? The greater good. Remember that during COVID? You had to get the vaccine, even if your doctor told you it was bad for you because it was for the greater good, even though the vaccine didn't prevent transmission. It's nonsense. The greater good is a communist talking point, by the way. That's what communist dictators say. Do it for the greater good. That means sacrifice your individual liberty, your individual freedom, and what's best for you and your family for the greater good. And then you know what? The big thumb. This is the little thumb of government. It's way bigger than this. I have a small thumb. What can I say? Goes right down on you and you're suppressed. Next thing you know, you have no freedom. Oh, but it was for the greater good. And then you swallow that too, right? Because they turn you into a puppet. People are so predictable. It's nauseating. Except for, of course, the top of the top. Remember, even in communist, countries, dictatorships, whatever, there's always an elite. They're protected. She'd be in the elite. Hollywood star. She's protected. She goes on to talk about abortion, and she says that she got pregnant in her early 20s, and she intended to get an abortion. She didn't have the abortion because she had a miscarriage. Okay, so she goes on to opine. And she says, I remember a million times thinking about it while I was pregnant, thinking about the things that were happening to my body. And I had a great pregnancy. I had a very fortunate pregnancy. This is when she actually became pregnant the second time. But every single second of my life was different. And it would occur to me sometimes, what if I was forced to do this? So let me turn that little light bulb in her head on for a second. You're not forced. You're not forced. Here's a really great idea. If you don't want, I know this is going to say I'm a Neanderthal, but if you don't want to risk having a baby, don't have sex. Everyone's like, Jed, okay, here's another option. Use several forms of protection. Do something. Or here's a better idea. I have it. Get involved in a relationship with someone that you love and that you trust and that you want to be intimate with, knowing full well that a baby could come out of that, and ahead of time decide that if that happens, you're going to take care of that baby. It's a decision you make, and then go have your fun. No. That's not what they want. They don't want personal responsibility injected into any equation. No. That's a bad thing. That makes you accountable for your actions, and liberals can't have that. It's distressing. Okay. Then she gets into guns. And she says, how on earth can anyone have children and not want to restrict access to guns? She wanted to know. I'm raising a little boy. So am I, Jen. So am I. I'm raising a little boy who's going to go to school one day. Guns are the #1 cause of death for children in the United States, and people are still voting for politicians who receive money from the NRA. It blows my mind. I mean, if Sandy Hook didn't change anything, we as a nation just went, okay, we're allowing our children to lay down their lives for our right to a Second Amendment that was written over 200 years ago. Oh, the Second Amendment was written 200 years. Oh, forget it then. Let's just tear that Constitution. Let's just rip it up for Jennifer. Here we go. There we go. Sorry, Jesse Kelly. That was your interview questions. And this is the Constitution needs to be living, breathing. Right, of course, because you know why. We've covered it. You know why. Nothing is factual to these people. There's no facts, right? What biology meant yesterday can't mean that today. We're just growing. We're evolving. We're all subjective clouds. You know how this works. And nothing that built the country, just a document that built the country. Oh no, that has to cease to exist. It's old. It's antiquated. It doesn't fit who we are today. Let's just get rid of it. If you like the short clip, you can catch another one here, or you can catch the full episode right here.